Hello and Namaste. I am Ketan Kank from 19two Consulting. In today's video, we are going to look at Schedule 2 of the IEPF rules. Schedule 2 deals with Rule 7 of the IEPF rules. Now, the title of Schedule 2 is Documents to be submitted to the authority to register transmission of securities. Now, this schedule, for the better understanding, we will see how it is being divided. There is part A and part 2. Part A deals with the securities which are present in physical format. Part B deals with securities which are present in dematerialized format. There are 4 different scenarios which are envisaged in part A and part B similarly. So in every scenario, we will talk about each scenario and we will see what documents are to be submitted under each case or under each scenario. So starting with part A, that is documentary requirement for securities held in physical mode. As I've told, there are 4 different scenarios. What is scenario number 1? Where the securities are held singly with nomination. So if the securities are held singly with nomination, what are the documents required to be filed? 1. Duly signed transmission request form, copy of death certificate, self-attested copy of PAN card. The original share certificate is to be sent to the company and scanned copy with the attached form and any other government ID or the proof. So these are the documents which are required to be sent where the securities are held singly with nomination. Scenario number 2, where the securities are held singly without nomination, then following documentation in addition to the scenario number 1. What are the following additional documents? Affidavits from all legal heirs made on appropriate non-judicial stamp paper. Now there is one more sub scenario I would say into this, is that if the securities are held singly without nomination and the value of such securities exceed 5 lakh rupees, then what are the additional documents those are to be submitted? Succession certificate, probate of will, letter of administration or any other degree. In absence of the documentation mentioned in A above, that means succession certificate etc., no objection certificate from all legal heirs executed by the legal heirs of the deceased holders not objecting to the transmission, or copy of the family settlement deeds duly notarized. An indemnity bond made on appropriate non-judicial stamp paper indemnifying the STA or the issuer company. An indemnity bond which becomes inevitable. I am requesting all the investors or claimants to put the indemnity bond regardless of any other requirement, because the company or the STA is nothing but RTA, share transfer agent or registrant share transfer agent, that's the same thing. So if the investors are compiling all the papers, indemnity bond has to inevitably be present in the paper compilation. Third scenario deals with where the securities are held jointly with nomination. Now, earlier 2 scenarios, the difference between earlier 2 scenarios and this one is that the securities were held without nomination but singly. Now, the securities are held with nomination but jointly. Then, duly signed transmission request form, again the same. Copy of death certificate of the security holder attested by the claimants, self-attested copy of the PAN card, original share certificates, any other government proof. So these documents are similar to the case scenario number 1, in which the securities are held singly with nomination, and in case the securities are held jointly with nomination, by and large the documentation remains the same. Now scenario 3 deals with where securities are held jointly without nomination following documentation in addition to the above specified in paragraph 3. So that means in the above documents. Now if we see the structure of this schedule, the documentation goes on increasing in addition to whatever the earlier scenario has envisaged. So where the securities are held jointly without nomination, the following documentation in addition to the documents specified above: affidavit from all legal heirs, succession certificates, and wherein value of securities exceeds beyond 5 lakhs, then per issuer company as the date of application, succession certificate or probate becomes mandatory. If the value of securities is below 5 lakhs, whether it is jointly held or singly held, succession certificate may not be obtained. But if the value exceeds beyond 5 lakhs, then yes, succession certificate becomes mandatory. So these are the 4 scenarios in the part A of Schedule 2, which deals with the shares or securities held in the physical format. Now, part B is actually similar to part A, But the difference between Part A and Part B is Part A deals with the securities held in physical format. Part B deals with the shares held in demat account or demat mode. Again, the scenarios are same: singly with nomination, singly without nomination, jointly with nomination, jointly without nomination. The only difference is that herein there won't be security certificates or share certificates. Now let us see what is the substitute document which is mentioned for share certificates. For share certificates, it is the copy of transaction statement duly attested by the claimant. So the copy of the transaction statement becomes important. So the transaction wherein the shares have been transferred to IPF, that statement, the copy of that statement becomes very important, and that is something that needs to be attached in replacement of the share certificate. See, the very advent of dematerialization of the shares is that the share certificates gets destructed and the shares get electronically credited to the demat account of that person. So share certificate, it is presumed that share certificates are not going to be available in case the shares are being held in demat format. So in this case, where the shares are held in demat format, the rest scenarios remain the same, but the share certificates are substituted by the transaction statement and other documents again remain the same. In case of folio number, the DP ID and client ID number has to be quoted by the claimant. So this was about Schedule 2 of Rule 7 of the IEPF rules. Should you have any query relating to the reclaiming of securities, dematerialization of securities, you may please feel free to reach out to us. We can be reached by marking your comments in the comment section of this video, or you can write an email to us on info@nineteenTwo.in. We will be all the more happy to help. Thank you so much.